So Syrian Girl, I don't know if you all know her, but she's probably one of the biggest peddlers of misinformation and just irrelevant. Like her analyses are just so like shallow and lacking nuance. So here she starts out of nowhere. ISIS have reemerged to fight the Syrian army in the desert. They serve Israel, right? So here she's spreading conspiracy theory. One way to look at it is, Israel needs help, so they call on their friends ISIS to fight the Syrian army. Okay, that's one theory. But if you really want to be intellectually honest, you could bring that up as a potential, but there's often simpler explanations, right? Generally conspiracies are not the simplest or most obvious explanations. They're just ones that fit preconceived notions people may have. So right now, Syria is essentially in a weakened state because there's been multiple attacks by Israel, attacking different targets. Not too many. There's turmoil and unrest in the Middle East. This is a pretty logical time for ISIS to try to get some kind of military and strategic gain. And that's even if this happened. I didn't even check that this is actually happening. But let's say it happened. There is another explanation. But obviously, someone like Syrian Girl isn't going to express that other side. Customer's asking if the Gazan friend didn't show up. No, his internet's out. He had to message me on 3G to let me know he can't make it, and he will try to come on later this week. But he did let me know that he's all in all doing well as he could be. So here she's doing a video, a photo of before and after. The Jewish ISIS don't bring tanks; they bring bulldozers. So first of all, I'm not even sure this is before and after. This might be very different areas of Gaza. Most likely it is. There's no strategic advantage to actually destroying all of these palm trees and all this here. It's just wrong. There's some military advantage to having bulldozers, but tanks are even more beneficial. So she's just making shit up right now. Here's a video of. So she posts a lot of videos that just we don't even know if they're real or not. And she has zero interest in fact checking. And we'll get to some of those videos. So again, I see this on her page. Everything she shares, you should take with a grain of salt because she just has a history of sharing things and then, just to fit whatever narrative she's pushing. Here she's talking about 4 Israeli soldiers that were killed. 4 demons have been sent back to the depth of hell after tripping a booby trap. I mean, there's no misinformation here. It's just cruel to talk that way about anybody, honestly. But in all fairness, many Israelis would speak this way about Hamas members. So this is not unusual for somebody to talk, celebrate the deaths of their enemy. So let's read this one. The word Israel will forever be synonymous with genocide. Nothing is ever going to be the same for anyone calling themselves Israeli. The door is closed on two-state solution. It's closed on a one-state solution. A zero-state solution seems inevitable now. So yeah, I mean, she never supported a two-state solution. She never supported a one-state solution. This is what she's always supported. So making it seem like all of a sudden this is now it's proven to be what's going to happen. Again, she's just trying to. It all comes down to just trying to prove whatever her preconceived notion is on the topic, and there's actually no reason to think that what's happening now, as horrific as it is going to cause Israel to cease to exist. It's just not. It's not based in reality, like most of the stuff that she says. Okay, so here's just a clear example. She reposts the lie that 39 Palestinian infants have died. It got community noted that they weren't died, they were just in threat of dying. And obviously this is a horrific situation. But you would think somebody right there that, somebody who is actually trying to report on information would see that new information comes out. She made a false claim here. So instead of either deleting the tweet or correcting herself, she'll just keep it up and continue to get impressions. She doesn't care for truth. So yeah, she posted this video. And here's just so you can see how much she lies. Israel admits Apache helicopters fires on their own civilians running from Supernova Festival. First of all, it's called Nova Festival. She just added the super, but we'll let that slide because it doesn't really matter. This is just a blatant lie. Israel never admitted that they fired on people running from Nova Festival. This video is Hamas militants trying to cross the border. And Apache helicopters did shoot on anybody crossing the border. Is it possible some of those killed by the Apache crossing the border were civilians, were hostages? For sure. But they made it seem like the massacre at Nova, which accounts for, I think, 300 civilian deaths, she's trying to paint it as if it was Apache, where there's actually no proof that Apaches fired on Nova. So blatant lie, gets community noted, and then she retweets it saying, malicious community note with Zionist lies. This is not false. And she talks about the date, how she was right about the date, but she doesn't acknowledge that she completely made up the fact that it was at Nova Festival, right? She's just a propagandist. Oh yeah, okay. So here's another one. Israel's best sniper was sniped by an average Hamas sniper. This is made up. Like Barib Ariel is not a real person. It's not even an Israeli name. So again, just the fake post. She didn't look into it if it's real, but she has no problem sharing it. Many pointed out that it's a made-up person, and of course she'll just leave it up. This is just how she functions. Again, here she's talking about the 39 dead babies. Didn't happen. Community noted, kept it up, no correction whatsoever. She doesn't care. It's funny because pro-Israel people spread the 40 beheaded babies lie, and now Palestinians are spreading the 39 babies in incubator lie. So we have more in common than we think. Here, Al-Shifa Hospital is older than Israel. That's possible, but it'd also just be made up. You just never know. If somebody wants to fact check when Al-Shifa Hospital was founded, just for the sake of seeing. Is there anyone still supporting Israel at this point that isn't Jewish or Hindu Vita? Can't seem to find any. Yeah, sure. I mean, many Christian conservatives. I mean, most people are pro-Palestine, but there's clearly more than just Jews and Hindus supporting Israel. Here she's still flipping out over the fact that she got community noted and zero self-reflection or acknowledging that she was wrong. Here's another one. Whatever happened to Delta Force who sent to Gaza? Douglas McGregor said they were all shredded, but Biden has been completely silent and we never heard about it again. We should be able to identify obituaries given their faces were exposed, right? This is like whoever Douglas McGregor is, he said something. It's not proof. Delta Force almost certainly was not on the ground in Gaza. There's no reason for them to be. But Syrian Girl doesn't really care. Yeah, this was painful to see, the 90-year-old grandma needing to flee her home. That was tough. Okay, let's see where we're at. Let's see if there's more questions. So Syrian Girl is a big Assadist. She really loves Assad, which is interesting. She's very harsh on Israel for the butchery in Gaza, but when Assad was butchering his own people, she was supportive. She, in that instance, was able to see how civilian deaths were okay if the military gain is defeating a rebellion, right? Here she goes, if Hamas was truly using human shields, as Israel claims, it would put one Israeli prisoner in every hospital, but they don't. How does she know? Right? That's just like, she's just saying shit. She has no way of knowing whether that's true or not. And I think the human shields thing, I think there's a lack of understanding. When the claim is made that that Hamas uses human shields, they're not saying that they actually take Palestinians and shoot behind them. They're talking about the fact that their military infrastructure is built intertwined in civilian infrastructure. This isn't even debatable. We know this to be the case. So that can very well be seen as a human shield. Here she talk is cheap. That's right. And so is tweeting misinformation. Here's another one. He's in the same camp, Suleiman Ahmed, just another peddler of misinformation. He was a big Andrew Tate supporter, and now he's moved on to Israel, Palestine, because it's what's popular. But deboosted and demonetized for speaking the truth to power. Actually, you were deboosted and demonetized for spreading misinformation, right? A little self-reflection can go a long way, buddy. But sure, just blame others for your failures. Here she's claiming that the IDF opened fire on people fleeing. There's no proof that this was actually that this actually happened. Just another unsubstantiated claim. You see, it's funny how she's a huge supporter of Neturei Karta, who's the anti-Zionist Haredi Jews. But she doesn't really know anything about them, what they actually believe, what their views are. They're probably very different ideologically and politically, but here they align. So she says they're godly men. I'll tell you where they probably don't agree on politics. Actually, I don't know enough about Syrian Girl. She's pretty cringy, but they very well may not agree on women's rights. They very well may not agree on Jews' role in this world. Like you hear a lot of anti-Semites talk about Jewish supremacy, and they talk about the Jews who have power, like the ones who are in Hollywood and finance and media, and they say these are Jewish supremacists using their influence to control the masses. But those Jews in power are generally secular, many of them atheists, don't have supremacist views. The ones who are more likely to be supremacists are these ones right here, actually. And it's not supremacy saying, well, I don't want to speak to it because I've a fair bit of the ultra Orthodox community. I've heard them say some. It's not so much talking bad about non-Jews. It's more so about us being the chosen ones and us having a special place in this role. So it's not doesn't come from a place of hate as much as just feeling elevated.